The explosion rocked the penthouse suite with such force that champagne glasses shattered across the marble floor. But it wasn't a bomb. It was Olivia Hastings slamming the door so hard that the entire 32nd floor of the Archer building seemed to shudder in sympathy. 3 minutes, that's all I asked for, 3 minutes of your precious time, she shouted at the bewildered delivery man who had mistakenly brought her the wrong coffee order for the 3rd time this week. The poor man backed away, hands raised, in surrender. Ma'am, I'm just following the app instructions. Don't ma'am me, I'm 32, not 92. Olivia checked her watch, a sleek, overpriced timepiece that seemed to mock her with every tick. She was already 7 minutes behind schedule, and in Olivia's meticulously organized life, 7 minutes might as well be 7 years. As Hetty, curator for the struggling Westfield Gallery, every second of her day was allocated with military precision. Her colleagues had nicknamed her the stopwatch behind her back, a fact she was perfectly aware of and secretly proud of. Meanwhile, 16 floors below in the same building but in a world entirely apart, Elliot Thorne was having a very different kind of morning. Sprawled on a threadbare couch in the maintenance office, he was engrossed in solving a crossword puzzle, completely oblivious to the coffee stain spreading across his faded uniform. Hey, Elliot, your shift started 20 minutes ago, barked Gus, the building's head of maintenance. Elliot glanced up with the unhurried demeanor of a man who had nowhere urgent to be. Did it? Must have lost track of time. What nobody in the Archer building knew, not Gus, not the executives in their corner offices, and certainly not the hurricane of efficiency named Olivia Hastings, was that Elliot Thorne was worth approximately $8.7 billion. 5 years ago, Elliot had created a revolutionary algorithm that transformed digital security. He had sold it to a tech giant for an astronomical sum and then, in a move that baffled the business world, completely disappeared from public view. No mansions, no yachts, no private islands. Just a modest apartment and a maintenance job that required minimal interaction with people. His wealth sat untouched in various accounts while Elliot lived on his maintenance salary, finding unexpected peace in anonymity. The ultra-wealthy lifestyle had never appealed to him, especially after watching his father, a once prominent business tycoon, work himself into an early grave pursuing ever greater fortunes. That morning, fate orchestrated their first collision when the elevator to the 32nd floor malfunctioned with Olivia inside, already 9 minutes behind schedule. Seriously? She yelled, jabbing the emergency button repeatedly. Does nothing in this building work properly? When the elevator doors finally pried open 10 excruciating minutes later, she found herself face to face with a disheveled maintenance man whose relaxed smile made her blood pressure spike. Sorry about that, Elliot said, not looking particularly sorry at all. These old elevators have a mind of their own sometimes. Do you have any idea what 10 minutes means in the art world? Olivia snapped, pushing past him. It's the difference between securing a Rothstein original and watching it go to the Guggenheim. Elliot watched her storm away, intrigued by the whirlwind of intensity that had just blown through his normally uneventful day. There was something compelling about her fury. It was focused, passionate, alive in a way few people were. Interesting, he murmured, unaware that this brief encounter would completely upend his carefully constructed anonymity. As for Olivia, she had already forgotten the maintenance man's existence by the time she reached her office. She had a gallery to save, artists to court, and absolutely no time for distractions, especially ones with coffee-stained uniforms and annoyingly serene smiles. Little did she know that the universe had just set in motion a collision course between her precisely timed world and the timeless existence of a billionaire who had chosen to be forgotten. The Westfield Gallery was hemorrhaging money faster than a stabbed waterbed. Olivia paced the empty exhibition hall, her heels clicking against the polished concrete like a ticking time bomb. We need something spectacular, Miranda. Something that will make people line up around the block, Olivia told her assistant, who was frantically taking notes. What about that new sculptor everyone's talking about? Miranda suggested. Beckett? Please. His work screams, I just discovered welding in my garage. We need established talent with a twist. As if the universe were mocking her, The gallery's lights flickered and then went completely dark. Olivia's scream of frustration echoed through the blackness. "I'll call maintenance," Miranda said, fumbling for her phone. 20 minutes. Later, Olivia had counted every excruciating second. The same disheveled maintenance man from the elevator appeared, toolbox in hand. "You again," Olivia said, recognizing Elliot. "Please tell me you're better with electricity than you are with elevators." Elliot smiled, that infuriatingly calm smile. "Electricity is just electrons looking for the path of least resistance. They're a lot like people in that way." Fascinating philosophy. Meanwhile, I have potential donors arriving in 43 minutes. Elliot kneeled beside the electrical panel and began working. While most maintenance workers would have simply reset the breaker, he opened his toolbox and produced equipment that looked suspiciously advanced. "What is that?" Olivia asked, curiosity momentarily overriding impatience. "Something I designed, or something a friend designed. It diagnoses electrical systems more efficiently than standard equipment." What he didn't mention was that the device contained proprietary technology worth millions. Elliot had built it himself when boredom had set in during his second year of anonymity. "Your building's electrical system is ancient," he explained. "These circuits were designed for rotary phones and typewriters, not modern gallery lighting." "So you're saying we're doomed?" Olivia checked her watch. "Not doomed, just in need of creative problem solving." For the next 30 minutes, Olivia watched with mounting surprise as Elliot efficiently rewired the gallery's electrical panel. His hands moved with the precision and confidence of someone who knew exactly what they were doing, a trait she reluctantly admired. "There," he said finally. "Try it now." Olivia flipped the switch and the gallery lights came on, brighter and more evenly distributed than they had ever been before. "This is actually better than before," she admitted, studying the way the light now perfectly illuminated each display space. "Sometimes things break so they can be rebuilt improved," Elliot said, packing up his tools. "That's a convenient philosophy for someone who fixes broken things for a living." "And what about you? What do you fix?" The question caught Olivia off guard. "I don't fix things, I arrange them perfectly. The first time." "Sounds exhausting." "It's necessary," she countered. "In my world, second chances are rarely given." Elliot studied her for a moment. "Maybe you're in the wrong world." Before she could respond with the scathing retort already forming on her tongue, Miranda burst into the gallery. "Olivia, catastrophe!" The Rothstein deal fell through. His agent just called. The color drained from Olivia's face. The Rothstein exhibition had been her last hope for saving the gallery. Without it, closure was inevitable. "There's still 37 minutes before the donors arrive," she said mechanically, her mind already racing through alternatives. None appeared. From his position by the electrical panel, Elliot observed the panic washing over Olivia's face. Despite her brusque demeanor, he recognized the look of someone watching their dreams collapse. He'd seen the same expression in his father's eyes the day his company had failed. Making a split-second decision that would disrupt his carefully constructed anonymity, Elliot spoke up. "I might know someone who could help." "Unless your friend is a world-renowned artist willing to exhibit on 2 days' notice, I don't see how," Olivia replied without looking at him. "Not exactly, but I know someone who collects rare works. Private collection never exhibited publicly." That got her attention. "What kind of works?" "Original Basquiat's, rare Kahlo's, early Banksy's before he was Banksy. Things like that." Olivia narrowed her eyes suspiciously. "And how does a maintenance man know someone with a collection like that?" Elliot shrugged. "I fix their air conditioning." It was a lie, of course. The collection was his, stored in a climate-controlled warehouse under a shell company's name. Art had been his one indulgence since selling his algorithm. "Can you call this person?" "Now?" Olivia asked, desperation temporarily overriding her skepticism. "Better. I can take you to see them. After your donor meeting." Against every instinct screaming that this was a waste of her precious time, Olivia found herself nodding. Fine. Meet me here at 7 p.m. If you're late, don't bother showing up at all. I wouldn't dream of making you wait, Elliot said with that same maddening smile. As he walked away, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that the scruffy maintenance man was much more than he appeared. And for someone who prided herself on efficiency, spending even 1 second wondering about Elliot Thorne felt like the most inefficient use of time imaginable. What she didn't know was that her sense of timing was about to be permanently disrupted by a man who had all the time and money in the world, but had found both to be surprisingly empty, without purpose. At precisely 7 p.m., Olivia stood outside the gallery, checking her watch every 30 seconds. By 7:03, she was tapping her foot. By 7:05, she was composing a mental list of all the productive things she could be doing, instead of waiting for a maintenance man who was clearly not coming. At 7:06, just as she turned to leave, a sleek vintage Jaguar E-Type pulled up to the curb. The driver's window rolled down to reveal Elliot, his maintenance uniform replaced with a simple but impeccably tailored charcoal suit. "Sorry I'm late," he said, though his expression suggested he wasn't sorry at all. Traffic was unexpected. Olivia stared, momentarily speechless, both at his transformation and at the car, which she knew cost more than her annual salary. "This is yours?" she finally managed. "Borrowed," Elliot said vaguely. "Shall we?" Against her better judgment, Olivia slid into the passenger seat. "Where exactly are we going?" "Red Hook," Elliot replied, pulling away from the curb with the confidence of someone who had taken professional driving courses, which he had, along with culinary arts, quantum physics, and traditional Japanese pottery during his years of wealthy seclusion. "Red Hook? There's nothing in Red Hook except warehouses and hipster breweries." "Exactly." They drove in silence, Olivia stealing glances at the man beside her. Without the coffee-stained uniform, Elliot looked different, refined, even handsome in a disheveled, couldn't-careless way that somehow worked for him. "So maintenance is just a side gig for you?" she finally asked. "Something like that. And this mysterious art collector trusts you enough to let you borrow their luxury car and visit their collection after hours?" Elliot smiled enigmatically. "We go way back." The warehouse, when they arrived, looked utterly nondescript from the outside, just another brick building with blacked-out windows. Elliot punched a code into a discreet keypad, and heavy steel doors slid open. "Your collector friend isn't worried about security?" Olivia asked skeptically. "The unassuming exterior is part of the security," Elliot replied, leading her inside. What awaited beyond those doors made Olivia gasp audibly. The warehouse interior had been transformed into a museum-quality gallery space, with perfect lighting. She noted with professional appreciation, illuminating works that belonged in the world's top museums. "This is impossible," she whispered, approaching a Basquiat that she recognized from auction catalogs. "This sold at Christie's 5 years ago for $40 million. 43.6, Elliot corrected automatically, then caught himself. "According to my friend." Olivia moved through the space in a daze, her curator's eye identifying masterpiece after masterpiece. "There must be $500 million of art in here." "Give or take," Elliot said casually, watching her reaction with unexpected pleasure. Suddenly, Olivia stopped and turned to him, eyes narrowing with dawning comprehension. "There is no collector. Friend, is there?" Elliot hesitated, then shook his head. "No. This is yours. All of it." "Yes. But you're a maintenance man." "Also yes." Olivia crossed her arms. "Explain, now. And don't waste my time with anything but the absolute truth." For the first time, Elliot looked genuinely uncomfortable. Time had always been something he had in abundance, but faced with Olivia's impatience, he found himself valuing each second of her attention. "My name is actually Elliot Thorne. 5 years ago, I created an encryption algorithm that revolutionized digital security. I sold it to Nexus Tech for what?" Olivia pressed when he paused. "For $8.7 billion. The silence that followed was so complete that Elliot could hear the state-of-the-art climate control system humming softly in the background. 8 billion, Olivia repeated faintly, dropping onto a nearby bench. And you choose to fix elevators for a living? I find it peaceful, Elliot said simply. My father was wealthy, not this wealthy, but comfortable. He worked 18-hour days, missed my entire childhood, had 3 heart attacks by 50, and died alone in his corner office. When I suddenly had more money than I could spend in 20 lifetimes, I decided to try something different. By pretending to be poor, by pretending to be normal. No expectations, no sycophants, no parasites pretending to be friends. He gestured around the warehouse. Art is my one indulgence. I collect it because it speaks to me, not as an investment or status symbol. Olivia studied him with new eyes. So why reveal all this to me? Why risk your precious anonymity? Elliot ran a hand through his perpetually messy hair. Because you looked like your world was ending when that exhibition fell through. And because... He paused, searching for words. Because you move through life with such purpose. Even your impatience is purposeful. It's compelling. Compelling, Olivia repeated flatly. Most people find it off-putting. I'm not most people. Clearly, she said, gesturing at the warehouse full of priceless art. Look, Elliot said, suddenly decisive. I'd like to lend these works to your gallery. Anonymously, of course. You curate the exhibition however you see fit. Olivia's professional instincts immediately calculated the impact such an exhibition would have. It would save the gallery, certainly, but more than that, it would put Westfield on the global art map, overnight. Why would you do that? She asked suspiciously. Because art should be seen. Because you clearly care deeply about your gallery. And because... He took a deep breath. Because I'd like to ask you to dinner, and I was afraid you'd say no unless I had something substantial to offer. To Elliot's surprise, Olivia burst out laughing, a genuine, unrestrained laugh that transformed her face completely. Let me get this straight, she said when she could speak again. You're a secret billionaire who's been hiding as a maintenance man, and you think you need to bribe me with priceless art to get a date? Put that way, it did sound ridiculous. Elliot found himself laughing too. When you put it like that, the exhibition offer stands regardless, he added quickly. No strings attached. Olivia looked at him thoughtfully. For someone who measured every minute of her day, she was surprisingly willing to spend time figuring out the puzzle that was Elliot Thorne. I have a counteroffer, she said. We do the exhibition, which will save my career, so thank you, and you agree to stop pretending. Pretending? Not to the world, she clarified. Keep your maintenance job if it makes you happy, but with me, no more half-truths or mysterious collector friends. Elliot considered this. That seems fair. And, Olivia continued, checking her watch automatically, I will agree to one dinner where I don't check the time once. Not even once? Elliot teased. That might be asking too much. I can be very disciplined when properly motivated. 6 months later, the Westfield Gallery hosted the most talked-about exhibition in New York, featuring works from an anonymous private collection. Art critics raved about curator Olivia Hastings' visionary approach, and the gallery's financial future was secured for years to come. And if anyone thought it odd that Ms. Hastings was now frequently seen in the company of the building's maintenance man, who still fixed elevators despite the gallery's newfound success, they kept their opinions to themselves. As for Elliot and Olivia, they found an unexpected balance. She taught him that some things were worth hurrying for, while he showed her the value of occasionally letting time slip by unmarked. Their contrasting perspectives created a rhythm that worked for both of them, a perfect paradox of hurried patience and measured spontaneity. On their 1-year anniversary, Elliot gave Olivia a watch, not an expensive one, but one he had built himself, with a face that displayed a simple message instead of time, worth the wait. And for once, Olivia didn't feel the need to check the time at all.